Michael Saylor is selling Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin doomed now? No, actually, this is bullish. There's a lot of stuff going on, including they just printed $1 billion in stable coins today. And this is typically what we start to see at bear market bottoms, these $1 billion stablecoin prints. In addition to this, the probability of a Fed rate hike is crashing. So this is extremely bullish for Bitcoin. And we have the Clarity Act has been pushed back to September 15th. This is a very bullish event that could potentially trigger the bull market. So we have a lot to discuss in this video. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my thoughts on where Bitcoin and cryptos are headed, what is driving this move right now, and much more. So if you guys love Bitcoin and cryptos, you're going to want to give this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. So if we take a look at Bitcoin, quite interesting. Bitcoin tried breaking 65K 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row. Just could not do it. Could not break and hold past 65K. As you can see here, the candle closes could not close above 65K. And if you bring this line all the way out, you can see very clearly that 65K is a strong level. It just will not budge above 65K. But when Bitcoin does break above and hold above 65K, which I believe will probably happen much sooner than you can think, and even this week we have CPI. This could pump Bitcoin up massively depending on the reading, which I think is going to come in bullish. We'll have to see with that. That's a pure guess. But once Bitcoin can find acceptance above 65K, then I believe we're going to start a rally. We're going to move up. But until then, we have now just rejected 65K. Michael Saylor is selling Bitcoin. He sold another $108 million in Bitcoin. But he did that to bring STRC almost back to par. And when STRC is almost $100 now, once it gets back to $100, typically what we see is Saylor, they end up buying Bitcoin. They end up buying Bitcoin. And MSTR, you can see, is also holding quite strong. So MSTR is holding strong. STRC bounced back a lot. STRC is already up 34%. Everyone is saying it's going to zero, but I believe it will get back to par. All this Michael Saylor FUD is unfounded, is without reason. And Saylor has infinite money and he can raise infinite amounts of capital. And when Bitcoin goes back up, STRC, MSTR, they're going to go crazy. Bitcoin is 10 months into the bear market. We are almost done with the bear market. 2 more months left according to the 4-year cycle, which should put us by October. The bear market should end by October, November. Historically, the bear market ends in the 4th quarter. So October, September, October, November, December, all the way up to January. I think in January, after January 1, mark my words, once January 1 hits, you're going to see the market just start to take off. It does that quite often, almost every single year. Especially when we're leaving a bear market. But most importantly, guys, the probability of a rate hike has been dropping drastically with the recent inflation data and the jobs data. And the last CPI read was way under expectations and the market went absolutely crazy. So we're going to have to see what happens this week with CPI. I think even if it comes in line with expectations, that would be good. That would be good. The market would probably like that. And I think the probability of a rate hike is going to continue to go lower and lower and lower. I don't think they're going to hike rates in September because mortgage rates, the interest rate of mortgage rates are really, really high right now. The market's already pricing that in that market. So the Fed doesn't need to intervene and hike rates. But most importantly, Bitcoin is only 2% away from breaking and holding above 65K. So we're very close. CPI could easily be that next major catalyst. We did have the Clarity Act. That could have been the possible catalyst to send us to 75K, 72K. But since that has been pushed back to September, the market could potentially start to price that in before that occurs. But I think that would be maybe 2 to 3 weeks before that. But the stock market is holding at all-time highs. You had oil make a move up, and oil moves the opposite, the inverse of cryptos. And oil has been coming up the past day, and today it rallied. It bounced up approximately 5%. So oil has gone up because there's a little bit of uncertainty now with the Middle East and Trump and the Strait of Hormuz, which we were promised that there was going to be de-escalation, there's going to be a deal, and it seems to be a little bit muddled, a little bit muddy, and kind of misunderstood what's happening here. So we're going to continue to watch oil. Notice oil went up, cryptos went down. They moved the exact opposite. And I think the reason why Bitcoin sold off rather aggressively is Bitcoin sells off every single Monday, just like this. But I believe this particular sell-off was the announcement that Saylor sold. The announcement that Saylor sold. You can see this morning at 8 a.m. they announced that Saylor sold every single day, every single Monday at 8 a.m. they announce what Saylor does. And you can see as soon as that post came out, Bitcoin sold off. Michael Saylor selling 100 million is honestly nothing. It's like 0.001% of their Bitcoin holdings, some very, very small percentage. It's not a big deal. Overall, he's a net buyer. He's bought like $15 billion in Bitcoin this year, and he's sold a couple hundred million. It is a non-event. It is a non-event in my opinion. Just a manipulation event to panic people, whatever. It's just honestly a non-event. Some of these altcoins are looking pretty strong here. Solana, Ethereum was looking pretty good until today's Saylor news. But we're going to keep our eyes on oil, which I think is going to continue to pull back. That was just like a dead cat bounce. And we're going to keep our eyes on Bitcoin. And I think the market might be a little choppy. It's not going to break out or do anything significant until after CPI. And then in addition to CPI, we have PPI the day after, which is on Thursday. So these two events are going to determine, I think, the path of cryptos and Bitcoin for the rest of this month and until at least the Clarity Act, which I believe if it gets passed, the markets are going to rally maybe for a couple of weeks. And I think the markets are really going to take off right near the midterms. Historically, 2 weeks before the midterms, the market starts to take off, and you'll see the market correct into the midterms. So these are some things that I'm paying attention to now. Now, as far as Bitcoin, it is super choppy. Any type of very violent move like this, as you could see here, very similar move. This was also on a Monday. You could see that it will chop around, sweep these lows. Eventually, it just rips back up. So I do think Bitcoin will rip back up here within the next day or two, especially if there's a good CPI. But the key is Bitcoin needs to break and hold above $65,000. In addition to this, Bitcoin could come back all the way down to these lows here, sweep out this liquidity, and it would just basically mean Bitcoin is ranging. Bitcoin is range bound. Bitcoin is range bound. Bitcoin needs another catalyst I think to get us out of this range. And that would be a good CPI read, which would bring inflation much lower, which could cause the Fed to be a lot more dovish. And they're no longer going to be cutting rates this year. That would be like another major catalyst. Then you have the Clarity Act, then midterms. These are the next three major catalysts that are approaching us. And these catalysts have the power to easily, at least one of these catalysts, to break us out of this range to the upside or to the downside, which we will be watching. If Bitcoin starts to break and hold under this level here, we start to test this level, then the probability of testing these lows or even breaking below the lows starts to increase. I don't think the leg down for Bitcoin is going to come until maybe October, or after September, who knows? But in the fourth quarter, there should be, according to the 4-year cycle, another leg lower. But what I'm looking for in this short term is that I believe at the very minimum, before Bitcoin decides to come back down to the range lows, that it's going to test these highs. It's going to take these highs out, this double top here, almost equal highs. I believe that these highs will be taken at the very minimum before this happens. It's possible that Bitcoin could front run it and obviously dump down and sweep these highs, but it looks like Bitcoin is just in a range bound behavior. A lot of accumulation going on here. There are a lot of whales buying. And I do think that any type of sweep of these lows here will send us back to the range highs. But we start to break and hold above these range highs, then we have the possibility of coming up and testing 75K. If we take a look at the order flow here, we can see that there has been a lot of spot buying. There's been a lot of spot buying driving this move for Bitcoin, and that shows that whales are accumulating despite today's pullback. Yes, there was a little bit of spot selling, but it's not the end of the world. You also take a look at the aggregated volume. You can see that there's been a lot of longs as well entering into the market. We take these two indicators off. We take a look at funding. We can see funding has hit negative, ended up pushing up higher. Just range bound, choppy. It's a lot of longs in the market. But if we also take a look at Coinbase Premium, you can see Coinbase Premium has not yet returned to green or its mean yet. And when this does flip green, that would be an indication that the US institutions are buying, which I don't think they're going to be going heavy right now in the month of August. after August and September, then the institutions come back from their summer holiday. And that is when a lot of buying starts to occur. So Coinbase Premium is going to be a signal that we're going to have a huge breakout. So that has yet not happened. And open interest just up and down is very choppy. You could see open interest spiked with this move here. And that is a possibility of a lot of shorts entering into the market here. And right now in this choppy summer range bound environment, there's just very extreme moves. They're liquidating both longs and shorts constantly. It's mean reversion strategy. So any type of aggressive move, you can essentially fade it both up and down. And that's the type you can play this. That's how you can play this market, just scalping. And of course, use stop losses in case there's going to be a huge breakout, whether it's to the downside or to the upside. There could be a black swan, a white swan. But I'm favoring longs right now. I'm personally very long. I am looking for further upside. 75K is my level. And that's going to be the level that I'm looking for. But this week will determine it. We will have to wait patiently until CPI, which is in just a couple of days. And that's what I think is going to happen. So if you guys got anything out of this video, consider giving this video a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed with notifications on so you do not miss my next video. And I'll see you later.